All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about composite figures and finding the area. All right, so let's look at number one. Number one, let's decompose it so that way we can have two rectangles. Okay, draw your line just like I drew mine. And we're going to take a look at the bigger rectangle. Now let's look at all the numbers that are around this rectangle. From there to there, it's 7. Now looking at the bottom, I have 5 centimeters, and then I have 10 centimeters. But 10 centimeters does not go with the smaller rectangle. 10 centimeters goes from all the way there to all the way to the bottom. So 10 will not be the number we'll be using for the smaller rectangle. Okay, so we are going to be using 7 centimeters and 5 centimeters to find the area. And remember, area equals length times width. So 7 times 5, and that equals 35 centimeters. And because this is area, 35 centimeters squared. Now let's take a look at the other rectangle. Let's look at the other numbers that we have not used yet. For one of the lengths, we have 3. So we know we need 3. And for the other length, we have 8. So our equation will be 8 times 3 for length times width. And 8 times 3 equals, good job, yes, 24 centimeters squared. Now that we have the area, now we have to add both of the areas together to get the total composite figure. So that's 24 plus 35, or 35 plus 24, it doesn't matter. Starting in the ones place, we have 4 plus 5, and that's 9. And then 2 plus 3, which is 5. So for the total area of this composite figure, we have 59 centimeters squared. So let's go ahead and write that on the line. So you can say 59 square centimeters or 59 centimeters squared. Doesn't matter, they're both the same. Okay, looking at number 2, let's decompose our figure. Now we have 2 rectangles. Okay, let's focus on the smaller rectangle. We have only one side that we know of, and that is 6 centimeters that we know that we're going to be using, and that's the longer side. So we need to find the shorter side. We have to use what we know in order to find that missing side. We know that the longer side is 7 centimeters. So I'm going to the other side. I see that 5 centimeters will be on that side because 5 centimeters is on the right, so it will be on the left as well. So I know that 5 centimeters plus something gives me 7 centimeters. I wonder what that could be. Yes, you're right, 2 centimeters. 5 centimeters plus 2 centimeters gives us 7. So now that we have our lengths, we're going to multiply 6 times 2, and that is 12. So 12 centimeters squared for the smaller rectangle. Now let's focus on the larger rectangle. Now we have 3 numbers here. Now we need to know we're not going to use 7 because 7 is for the longer side. So we have 10 that we're going to use and 5 that we're going to use. So that is 10 times 5. And that equals 50 centimeters squared. Now we're going to add 50 centimeters squared to 12 centimeters squared. Starting in the ones place, we have 0 plus 2, which is 2. 5 plus 1, 6. So the area of the composite figure is 62 square centimeters, or 62 centimeters squared. Okay, let's move on to number 3. All right, so let's go ahead and decompose our shape. Okay, we're going to take a look at the longer rectangle. Okay, looking at the top, we have 30 millimeters, and now we have to find the shorter side. All right, there we go, 5 millimeters. So that is 30 millimeters times 5 millimeters. Let's write this in stacked form. Let's take a look first at 5 times 0, and then 3 times 5, which is 15. So we have 30 times 5 is 150 millimeters squared. Okay. Now let's take a look at the smaller rectangle. We know one of the sides from there to there is 7 millimeters. And now we need to find from there to there. We're going to take a look at what we already know. Let's take a look at all the way at the top. We know all the way at the top is 30 millimeters. And from there to there is only 20 millimeters. So we need to figure out 20 plus something gives me 30 millimeters. 20 millimeters plus 10 millimeters gives me 30 millimeters. So that is the missing side. So we now have 10 times 7, and let's write that in stacked form. Starting in the ones place, 7 times 0. Anything times 0 is 0. Then 7 times 1 is 7. So 10 times 7 is 70 millimeters squared. So now we have to add the two areas together. That's 150 plus 70. Starting in the ones place, 0 plus 0 is 0. 7 plus 5 is 12. And 1 that we regroup plus 1 is 2. So the total area is 220 millimeters squared. And our last one, we have to decompose our shape. All right, let's focus on the smaller rectangle because we have the length and the width already given to us. And let's circle the 1 millimeter and the 2 millimeter. I'm sorry, that's meter. So that's 2 times 1, which equals 2. So it's 2 meters squared. And now let's look at the bigger rectangle. We have one of the lengths already given to us, and from there to there is 7. Okay. Now we need to figure out from here to there. Let's use what we know from the other side. From there to there is 4, and from there to there is 2. So that means if from there to there is 4, that means on the other side from there to there is also 4. And if from here to there is 2, that means from there and there is 2. So that is actually 2 plus 4, and that will give us the length of the bigger side, and which is 6. So I'm going to erase that. So I'm going to just put 6 meters. Okay, now I have the two lengths. I have my length and I have my width. So 7 meters times 6 meters is 42 meters squared. So now we have to add 42 to 2, and 42 plus 2 equals 44 millimeters squared. Thank you.